Hello everybody and welcome. I am the Shy Hat and today we're going to be doing a live stream covering the Advent of Cyber 2023 Beginner Cybersecurity Challenges. I'm going to leave a link for everybody in the chat if you want to join in and do the same exercises. We're doing day 12 today. So we're halfway through all of the exercises because this event goes until the 24th of December. It is now the 12th of December. And today we're going to be doing an exercise on defense in depth, and more specifically we're going to be doing something on Linux server hardening. So let me pull up my mouse highlighter app so we can get a better sense of where I'm pointing at on the screen. Okay, that's better. All right, so the first thing we want to do when we do this exercise here is we want to start up the virtual machine that we're going to be interacting with, and we can do that by clicking on this green Start Machine button right over here. Okay, so that's going to take a little while to initialize. But in today's task, we also have to deal with we also have to use the attack box virtual machine to interact with the vulnerable server. So we're going to go up to the top of the page, and then we're going to show split view. Sorry, I'm going to terminate this machine. And we're going to click on the Start Attack Box button right over here. So click on that. And that's going to start up the attack box virtual machine that we're going to use to interact with the vulnerable server. So while we're waiting for this to initialize, we're going to go back down to the task 12 section right here. So we're talking about defense in depth today. So it's layering the defenses to make sure that attackers can't get by. If they get past one layer. Gray Fox, thank you very much for coming by. How's it going? Well, we're here and we're trying to solve our daily challenge for Advent of Cyber on TryHackMe. Gray Fox, have we met before? Okay, so what are our learning objectives for today? I'm very happy that you're so enthusiastic, Gray Fox. So today we're learning defense in depth, we're learning basic endpoint hardening, and we're learning simple boot to root methodology. All right, let's see. So before we move forward, we have to figure out what we need to do to solve today's task. Do we need to start the attack box today? Yes. Do we need to start a VM today? Yes. Gray Fox says it's their first time here. Well, glad to have you. I hope you can learn something today, and we can learn together by solving this challenge. So the machine we're going to be playing around with is a vulnerable by design Ubuntu machine running a Jenkins service. It has been configured for ease of use, allowing flexibility for users in exchange for security. Just wondering, Gray Fox, are you a cybersecurity student, or do you work in cybersecurity right now? Okay, so before we get started, we need to boot up the two machines, one for the attacker and one for the server administrator. Okay, click on the green Start button machine, and we've already done all of this stuff over here. So next we need to log into the admin account using SSH using the credentials supplied below. All right, so we see here that the attack box is finished initializing. We can click on here and press enter to dismiss this terminal, and then we need to click on the View in Full Screen button. So it's at the bottom over here. We're going to click on this, and then we can see our attack box in the full screen of the web browser tab. All right, so that makes it a lot easier for us to see. And we're going to start up a terminal in here by clicking on the terminal shortcut button, which is located either here or here. So we're going to click on this one, and then we're going to increase the size of the terminal so that we can all see it more easily. That's a little too big. Maybe this one will be all right. Okay, Gray Fox says they're not a student, but they want to learn. Well, solving the challenges at TryHackMe Advent of Cyber is a great way to start learning about cybersecurity. Once again, I'll leave the link for you in here. Gray Fox, are you currently doing the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber challenges here, or are you new to TryHackMe? So what we need to do is we need to log into the admin account using the attack box using SSH. So we can do that by copying this command right here, and then in the attack box, we're going to close this out so that we can get a bigger view on this page right here. So over here at the bottom, we're going to click on Exit Split View. And then now we can see a larger view on the web page here. Gray Fox says they're planning to start after the new year. Well, that's great. Let's see. So we're going to, so in the terminal here, we're going to use this SSH command to log in as the admin for the vulnerable server. Okay, press enter. Type in yes. And then we're going to use the password, which is super strong password 123. We're going to copy that. And in here, we're going to because we're in the Linux terminal, we have to use Control-Shift-V to paste in the password. Gray Fox asks, have you been studying this year already? Well, I've been trying to do all of the TryHackMe Christmas event challenges. So I started on day 1, and now it's day 12. So I've finished 11 challenges so far. All right, so now that we're connected to the server via OpenVPN. Sorry, no, we're not connected via OpenVPN. So we logged in using SSH, and now we can go over to the Jenkins web service in the attack box by going to this address right over here. So we can go to the attack box again, and then we can click on this icon right here to open up the Firefox browser. And then inside the attack box Firefox browser, we can paste in the URL that we copied. Okay, so I think I've gotten a little ahead of what we're doing here. I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to read about what we're doing here. So as we discussed earlier, we're dealing with a server that is vulnerable by design. It contains misconfigurations and has been implemented with poor or simply non-existent security practices. This part of the task will walk you through one of the many ways we can get elevated privileges on the server. Okay, so skipping the enumeration part, we can access Jenkins via Firefox on its default port, which is this URL right here at port 8080. Okay, you should be greeted by a page that looks something like this. So if we go back to the attack box Firefox browser, we see that this is the case. Okay, so this is concerning getting a web shell. So we can use the vulnerable Jenkins service to get access to the vulnerable server. So we instantly gain access to the general workings of Jenkins. Explore the features that we can play with, and you'll see that there's the way to execute arbitrary scripts for administration / troubleshooting / diagnostics on the machine. On checking this further, you can see that this can be used to spawn a web shell. So click on the Manage Jenkins button on the left side of the page, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see the option we want, Script Console. Okay, so inside of the attack box, so inside Jenkins over here, we can click on Manage Jenkins, and then we can go down to the bottom of the page, And we can click on this button right here, which is labeled Script Console. So inside the Script Console here, we can run different scripts using this web application. And let's go back to the web page to read more about what we're going to do. So Script Console is a feature that accepts Groovy, a type of programming language for the Java platform. Let's jump straight in and try to establish a reverse shell using this feature. The example below is using an edited version of the script. Okay, and they have a link to the script that they're using. So what we can do is we can use this script and we can run it on Jenkins, and that's going to give us give the attacking machine access to the vulnerable server. So first we need to do something with Netcat. We need to create a listener on our attacking machine before we can execute the script and get access to the vulnerable machine. Hack it like you mean it. Well, I think we're gonna do that pretty soon. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this script over here, and then we're going to go to the attack box web browser, and then we're going to paste it in. And what we need to do is we need to change up one of the variables here. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to put in our attack box IP. So the attack box IP can be located at the top over here, and we can plug that in. So for me, it's going to be this. Okay, so we're going to leave this alone for right now, and we're going to create a Netcat listener on our attacker machine. So we're going to minimize this, and then we're going to open up a new terminal. So we're going to click on this button one more time to open up a new terminal, and we're going to make it nice and big. And then we're going to run the Netcat command to create the reverse to create the Netcat listener, which is this right here. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to paste it in with Control-Shift-V, and then we're going to run this. So now we've got a listener, so that when the vulnerable server reaches out to our attacker machine, then it's going to receive a connection, and then we're going to have access to the vulnerable machine. So from here, let's take a look at the web page to see what's going on. So once both the reverse shell script and the Netcat listener are ready, you can press the run button at the bottom. You should see an established connection in your attacker terminal, and you can test the shell by sending some typical Linux commands such as id and who am I. A successful connection would look something like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Firefox browser inside the attacker machine, and then we're going to click on the run button over here. So we click on that, and then we're going to minimize this, and we see that we've received a connection from the vulnerable server. Okay, so if we type in who am I, we see that we're running as the Jenkins user, so we have access to the vulnerable server. All right, so what's going on? The next section is getting Tracy and root. So now that we have a web shell with a Jenkins user, we can explore the server's contents for things that we can use to improve our shell and perhaps elevate our privileges. So we can check the usual folders, but we'll find an interesting bash script in the /opt/scripts folder named backup.sh. So check the contents of the file. You'll find a simple implementation of backing up the essential components of Jenkins and sending it to the folder /home Tracy/backups by SCP. The file also contains the credentials of the user Tracy. So what does this mean? So we can go to our to our shell over here, and then we can go to the opt/scripts directory, and then we can take a look at the contents of that directory. So we see the shell that we see the file that that the web page was talking about. So we're going to cat that out, backup.sh. So over here, we see that there's a user named Tracy, and that there's also a password over here. So that means that we might be able to log in with as the Tracy user using SSH if Tracy is reusing passwords. So the SCP command is a clue that SSH may be used on the server. If so, we can use it to upgrade our user in shell. Open a new terminal and log in via SSH using this command right here. Alright, so in the attack box, what we're going to do is we're going to exit out of here. So we're going to type in exit. And then we're going to use the SSH command. We're going to copy that. And then we're going to paste the command into the terminal. Okay, it's asking for Tracy's password over here. We can copy it from the file that we found right here. So 13_in_33. So Control-Shift-C to copy, and then Control-Shift-V to paste. And then press enter. And now, if we ask who am I, we are Tracy. Okay, and we have, so this is an actual SSH connection, so it is much more stable than the Netcat connection we had before. All right, so enter the password and prompt it, and you'll be logged into the Tracy account. Finally, we can use sudo-l to find out what commands the user is permitted to perform using sudo. So, sudo-l, and then we can paste in the password from before. Okay, user Tracy may use the following commands on Jenkins. So all. So this means that that Tracy can run any command, and she can also become the root user using the sudo command. So this is a lot of privileges. If we go back to the web page, the all line in the output essentially says that all commands can be performed by Tracy using sudo. This means that the user is created with inherently privileged access. As such, we can just enter the command sudo su and we're root. So let's talk a little bit more about defense in depth and its role in hardening. From the attacker point of view, we were able to get straightforward root access to the server. This is bad news for defenders, since the goal is to make it as hard as possible for the attackers to get what they want. In this next section of this task, we're going to establish defensive layers that aim to work together, with each layer making it more complicated for the attackers to achieve their aims. Defense in depth is all about creating defensible environments whereby security controls are meant to deter bad actors from achieving their main goal. Note that the emphasis isn't on never getting compromised, rather it's making sure that the bad actors don't succeed. This way, even if one or more defensive layers get bypassed, the stacking alone of these layers makes it much harder for the bad actors. Sometimes this is enough to force bad actors to try and minimize their losses and move on to easier targets. So we're going to be doing a guided hardening of the server. So we're going to go back to our attack exercise from earlier. We discovered that root is very easy to achieve because there is full trust within the server environment. So first we need to do removal of Tracy from the sudo group. We should always follow the principle of least privilege, especially for systems in production. In this example, the user Tracy is made in such a way that it has the same permissions as the admin. This gives the user more flexibility. However, it also runs the risk of misuse not only by the owner of the account, but also by others who gain access to the account, as we did. To remove Tracy from the sudo group, we have to use the following command: sudo deluser Tracy sudo. To confirm removal from the sudo group, we're going to use sudo l -U Tracy. So inside of the terminal, we need to use the admin Jenkins terminal. So we're going to move this window aside. Whoops. This is rather laggy because the TryHackMe machines are not super optimized, and that makes sense because they have to deal with a lot of people using their systems. Okay, so inside the admins at Jenkins, we're going to do sudo del user Tracy sudo, and then press enter. Okay, and it says done. And then we're going to use this command to confirm the user was removed. So sudo -lu Tracy. Okay, so user Tracy is not allowed to run sudo on Jenkins. All right. So changes to the Tracy account won't affect current active sessions. So we can test them by logging in again as Tracy on a new terminal on our attacking machine. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to, on this terminal, we're going to exit. And then we're going to try to log in again as Tracy. And we're going to get the Tracy password. I just happen to have it on one of my notepads. Okay, so now we're logged in as Tracy again. We're going to do sudo -l to find out our privileges. And here it says, sorry, user Tracy may not run sudo on Jenkins. All right, so we've plugged up that security hole. So that change alone made all the difference between achieving root and staying with the user Tracy. Now the attacker is left with 3 immediate options. Number 1, further enumerate the server for a possible route to root within the user Tracy. Find a way to move laterally within the system to a user with a possible route to root access, or find a different target. So next we're going to do hardening on the SSH program. So the path to root has been made more complicated for the attacker, but that doesn't mean we should stop here. Attackers can be very creative in finding all sorts of ways to accomplish privilege escalation. Any additional layers will make it a lot harder for the bad actors to achieve their objectives. Remember that as attackers, we are able to use SSH in this server to move laterally from the low-level user. In light of this, we can disable password-based SSH logins, so we can thwart the possibility of an SSH login via compromised plaintext credentials that are just lying around. So in the admin shell, we're going to go to this particular file and then edit it using your favorite text editor. But remember, we have to use sudo. Find the line that says password authentication yes, and change it to password authentication no. All right, so what we do is we can go to our admin at Jenkins terminal, and then we can do sudo and then this file right here. We can copy that, and then we can paste it into our terminal with Control-Shift-V. Oh, it chopped off the G. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to add a nano in front of that because we're going to use the nano text editor. And then now we're going to run nano. And what are we looking for again? We're looking for password authentication yes, and then change it to password authentication no. So we're going to go down. Sorry, this is a bit slow. Okay, I see it. It's up here. So password authentication yes, All right, we're going to get rid of the hash symbol here, and then we're going to change it to password authentication no. And to save the file, we're going to do Control X to exit, and then save modified buffer, press Y, and then press enter. Okay, and that should be it. All right, so we go back to the web page. Okay, next we're going to find the line that says include etc ssh underscore config d star.conf and change it to include this. Okay, so I needed to edit more there. So let's use this. Let's use the nano program again. All right. So what line are we looking for? So include /etc something something. Okay, let's find that line. Here it is, right at the top. Nice. And what do we need to change it to? We need to change it to, okay, so we need to just add the hash sign at the beginning of the line. Okay. So we're going to add the hash sign at the beginning of the line to comment it out, and then save out the file again, Control X, and then Y, and then enter. Okay, save the file, then enter the command sudo system control restart SSH. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to restart the SSH service with that command. So control, paste it in, and then run that command. All right, in the example below, the egrep command shows what lines within the file should look like. You can use the same command to see if you have successfully edited the file. You should see the effect immediately when you log out of Tracy in your attack machine and try to log in via SSH. So in our Jenkins root Jenkins terminal, we're going to run this command, and that we should see this output right here. Okay, we're going to copy that and then run it from our admin at Jenkins terminal. Okay, password authentication, no. So that means that that we have successfully edited the file. All right. So we're going to try to log in using the Tracy user again, and we should find that that it's not possible anymore. So inside our Tracy terminal, we're going to exit, and then we're going to try to log in again as Tracy. Okay, and it says permission denied, public key. All right, so that means we can't log in as the Tracy user using a password. So that means that we've successfully reconfigured the server. So it's worth noting that applying this hardening step assumes that there are other ways for us to log into the system, admin account included, and it usually involves the setup of a passwordless SSH login. However, for our purposes, we can opt not to do that anymore. All right, so stronger password policies. Another pivot point emphasized in our attack exercise earlier was the plaintext password discovery that led to the SSH access to a higher privileged user. Two immediate things are apparent here. Number one, the password is weak and may be accessible to a brute force attack, and number two, the user employed bad password practices, putting plaintext credentials on a script and leaving it around for anybody with server access to see. We can apply a stronger password policy requiring the user to change their password and make it more compliant on their next login. However, it's solely up to the user to prevent bad password practices. Further, plaintext credentials, despite following a strong password policy, may still be used to move laterally within the web shell access that we got initially. Care really should be exercised when dealing with secrets, especially ones that belong to highly privileged accounts. So what we need to do is we need to promote zero trust. Once we've applied all of the hardening steps discussed, we'll find that we're able to patch many of the vulnerabilities that we initially exploited just to get to root, in terms of the attack methodology discussed earlier at least. So we're back in the web shell that served as our initial foothold in the system, and it's accessible as a result of the Jenkins implementation that assumes full trust within the environment. As such, it's fitting that the last hardening step we apply in the server is one that promotes zero trust. Instead of opening up the workings of the platform to everybody on the environment, this change will allow just those who have access to the platform this change will allow just those who have access to the platform. In the admin terminal, proceed to the Jenkins home directory using this command. So we're going to go to the Jenkins home directory. We're going to copy that. And inside of the admin terminal, we're going to paste that in. Okay, here you're going to see two versions of the Jenkins config file, config.xml and config.xml.back. Fortunately for us, the user kept a backup of the original configuration file before implementing the current one. As such, it would be more straightforward for us to revert it back to the original by removing the comments in the XML file. For reference, the comment syntax is signified by the bang dash dash right after the opening bracket and the dash dash right after the closing bracket. Anything in between is commented out. Okay, so using your favorite text editor, access the config.xml.back and look for the following block of lines. So these right here, authorization strategy, something something, and at the end, security realm. So we're going to use nano. So sudo nano, and it's going to be config.xml.back. Okay, so what lines are we looking for? We're looking for authorization strategy and security realm. So we have authorization strategy over here, and we have security realm over here. So what do we need to edit? So we're going to remove the bang dash dash and the dash dash for both authorization strategy and security realm. All right, so inside of the text editor, we're going to go down to authorization strategy over here and get rid of the bang dash dash. And over here with authorization strategy at the end, we're going to get rid of these two dashes. And then security realm, we're going to get rid of this bang dash dash. And then at the bottom of security realm here, we're going to get rid of these two dashes. All right, and this should, what is this going to do? We can then remove the current active config file, rm config.xml. Okay, all right, so we're going to save this with the Control X, Y, enter, and then we're going to remove the config file. So let's go back and make sure we're using the right command. So we're going to remove the config file we're currently using for Jenkins with this command right here. Okay, remove write protected regular file, press Y and enter. Permission denied. I think we need to use sudo with this. Okay, so that worked. And then we're going to rename the backup config file, and we're going to make it the new config file with this command right here. Okay, and this we need to use sudo in front of it because we're inside a directory that requires root access. Okay. And then we're going to restart the Jenkins service. So we're going to copy this and use this file, this command to restart the Jenkins web service. Okay, so what is next? So once that's done, you'll see that unlike before, the inner workings of Jenkins are not accessible. It should be noted here that fresh installs of Jenkins feature a login page by default. Okay, so if we go back to our Firefox web browser, and we go back to the default page for Jenkins, which is just this without the other endpoint information. Okay, we can see that there's a login page for Jenkins now instead of directly giving us access to the Jenkins web app. So that's another security hole plugged up. So conclusion: defensive layers don't need to be flashy. You can accomplish a lot with one-liners and simple implementations of security best practices. This is exactly what we have done throughout this task, and addressing a specific exploitable vulnerability each time. This task is a simple demonstration of how it works in the real world. Each hardening step adds a defensive layer, and these layers work together to make a much more defensible environment. Exploit one or two, and you're still relatively defensible. That's because the next layer is there to make it harder for the bad actors to succeed in getting what they want. Defense in depth doesn't stop here, though. The next step is setting up tools and sensors that would give your defensive teams the visibility over the environment, the output of which can be used to create automated detection mechanisms for suspicious behavior. But that's a discussion for another time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to answer the questions for this particular challenge in order to finish off the room. So the first question is, what is the default port for Jenkins? So if we remember from back up at the top, it is port 8080, and then click submit. What is the password for the user, Tracy? Okay, if we remember, it is this password right here, 13_1n_33. And what is the root flag? So by root flag, in these CTF environments, it's usually located in the root directory. So what we can do inside of our admin terminal, I'm going to get rid of this other terminal just because it's in the way. Okay, so what we can do is we can go to the root directory, cd/root. Oh, okay, permission denied. So what we're going to do is we're going to become root with sudo su. And now we can go to the root directory. Okay, and inside this directory, we can see that there is a flag.txt file. So the YouTube user T says, where have you learned all of this? Well, I've been working with Linux for quite a while, and I also spent some time earlier before coming on stream to learn the ins and outs of this particular challenge. If you're looking to learn the beginnings of cybersecurity, I have a YouTube channel which you're watching right now, which covers a bunch of different video lessons on how to learn the basics of cybersecurity. It's at the TryHack, my channel right here, and I have a series of lessons called Hacker Frogs After School. It's in a playlist. Let's see, so it's in this playlist right here for Hacker Frogs After School main playlist. So if you go to youtube.com at the TryHack's playlists, you can take a look. I'll plug it in the chat right here, and take a look if you like. So what were you doing? We were getting the root flag for this challenge. So we can just use the cat command, cat flag.txt, and this is the flag that we need to supply to the room. So Control-Shift-C to copy that, and then paste it in, submit. Okay, so next, what is the error message when you log in as Tracy again, and then sudo -L after it's removed from the sudoers group? Okay, so to get the answer for this, we go to our attack box inside the terminal, and then we switch over to the Tracy user, su Tracy, and then we do sudo -L as the Tracy user. And then we supply the password for the Tracy user. It says, sorry, user Tracy may not run sudo on Jenkins. So copy all of this, Control-Shift-C, and then we're going to paste it in and submit that as the answer. Okay, the next question is, what is the SSH flag? So that one is inside of the SSH config file, and if you remember, the SSH config file is right over here, and we're going to use this command to read the file. If we go up inside the file, we see here that this is the flag right here. So need to secure this secure shell. All right. So copy this portion without this hash right here. Control-Shift-C, and that's the answer. Click submit. And the final question is, what is the Jenkins flag? Okay. So this one is inside the Jenkins configuration file. And we can get access to that. We're going to go back down to the end of this terminal. Laggy virtual machine. Just a second. Okay. And so this is the location of the config file, and then we're going to actually this is not the config file anymore because we replaced it on the machine. So we can do config.xml, and then we're going to cat that out, read it. Okay, and then we're going to go up a little bit. Oh, I could have sworn that the flag was here. Okay, hold on. We're gonna try reading the backup file instead. .back. I thought we renamed it. Oh, we copied it. Right, we copied it. All right, so we're gonna go back up here. Okay, and the flag is this one right here. Full trust has no place in security. All right, so just copy this and then Control-Shift-C, and then paste this in, submit. Okay, so we've finished all of the questions here. So for the last one, we don't need to answer any question, just click on completed. And we've completed this this room. All right, so that's day 12 of TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber 2023, and we're going to be back tomorrow doing day 13 of this event as well. Until then, if you want to take a look at some beginners cybersecurity videos, I have them right here. in my playlist. I'll leave that link in the description. Sorry, not in the description, in the chat for you guys if you want to take a look at that. But this has been the Shy Hat, and I want everybody to have a great day, and we will see you next time. I hope you learned some good stuff, and yeah, keep on learning and keep on hacking.